Have you ever heard of a Roman war machine that moved like a rat but smashed walls like a titan? It was not a catapult nor a battering ram. It was the Musculus, one of the most ingenious inventions in the Roman arsenal. Imagine this: an enemy fortress surrounded, flames crossing the sky, arrows hissing in the air. And then a wooden structure appears crawling through the field, silent, resistant, as if it had a life of its own. A mobile shelter, a siege engine, a symbol of Rome's military intelligence. The name, by the way, carries a game of meanings. Musculus, in Latin, means both muscle and mouse, as if the machine, sneaking forward and armored, were a living creature sneaking toward the walls. It was the terror of the besieged and the pride of Roman engineers. Contrary to what many think, Rome's power was not based only on the brute force of its armies. The real Roman advantage lay in technical ingenuity, the precision of logistics, and the ability to adapt solutions to any hostile terrain. Musculus is living proof of this. During a siege, it was not enough to have brave soldiers. It was necessary to advance on the enemy without being decimated before touching the wall, and Musculus made it possible. Its low and long shape protected legionaries as they dug, built ramps, or cleared their way through a rain of arrows and boiling oil. More than a wooden structure, it was a strategic cocoon, a mobile trench, an architectural response to the challenge of static warfare. Where the sword could not reach, the Musculus reached, and dug the path to Roman victory. And if you've made it this far, it's because you value stories that most have never heard, the backstage of the strategy, not just the sparkle of the sword. Then be part of this army that thinks like Rome, with intelligence, vision, and a passion for real history. Leave your like now if this machine surprised you. It shows the algorithm that this content deserves to go further. And subscribe to the channel, because here each video is a living reconstruction of what the school never told. While others only see soldiers, you saw what was behind the wall. So don't forget, be part of it. Activate the bell and march with us towards Rome's next secret. What we know about Musculus did not come from guesswork, but from the words of one of Rome's greatest military thinkers, Flavius Vegetius, author of De Re Militari. He wasn't just an observer, he was a strategist, a man of war, someone who understood that winning battles required more than bravery. It required ingenuity and preparation. In his work, he clearly describes how the Musculus was essential during sieges, especially in the construction of roads leading to enemy walls. These paths, called viae militares, were fundamental to move the immense siege towers. Without protection, soldiers digging and leveling the ground would be easy targets. But with the Musculus, they could work covered, moving forward without pause. It was like seeing Rome itself crawling through enemy lines, unstoppable, silent and deadly. Visualize this: a sturdy, long wooden structure with a sloping roof covering it like a shield against the hostile sky. That was Musculus in action. But he wasn't just wood on wheels. Its roof was covered with fire-resistant materials, wet leather, compacted earth, perhaps even thin metal plates. Why? Because during sieges, the first response of the defenders was fire. Improvised bonfires, incendiary arrows, boiling oil. The Romans knew this, and they transformed their machine into a true mobile bunker, an armored shelter in the middle of the battlefield. Inside, dozens of soldiers dug, leveled the ground, removed obstacles, all this under the protection of the structure. It was like building a road under arrows. The Musculus didn't fight, but it fought its way to victory with every meter gained under its sturdy roof. Even Julius Caesar, the biggest name in expansionist Rome, made a point of recording the use of Musculus. In his commentaries on the Civil War, he mentions this machine as a crucial part of his siege operations. The description is impressive. More than 2 meters long, a real wooden monster advancing inch by inch towards the walls. But the most symbolic thing was not the size, it was the robustness. The structure needed to withstand not only external attacks, but also the weight of the Roman hope itself, victory. With it, soldiers could approach the walls without direct exposure, gain time and space, build ramps, cut moats. The musculus was the arm that extended, the will of Rome to the enemy stone. And that said a lot about how the empire not only fought, but calculated every step before attacking. Despite Caesar's description pointing to a long and robust version, the musculus did not have a single model. Records suggest that there were variations of this machine, adapted according to the type of terrain, the size of the fortification, or the urgency of the mission. Some versions were smaller, agile, used to advance through uneven terrain. Others had fixed wheels or slid along improvised tracks. This level of adaptation shows how meticulous the Romans were. No detail was left to chance. Roman military engineering functioned as a science applied to the battlefield. Instead of forcing a single solution to every problem, they shaped the solution to the challenge. The musculus, in this context, was not just a machine. It was a living extension of Roman strategy, shaped to infiltrate, resist, and advance where no man could go out in the open. Imagine dozens of soldiers hiding under the sloping roof of the musculus. They weren't just taking shelter, they were working intensely day and night under the constant strain of enemy attacks. The walls may have seemed impassable, but the Romans knew that every fortress has a weak point, and it was there that Musculus was directed. He not only protected, but also led men to the exact point of the enemy's fragility. While arrows and spears ricocheted off its cover, Roman hands removed stones, dug ramps, dismantled trenches. It was a war of patience, sweat, and strategy. The enemy saw only a wooden box advancing, but inside it there was an army that wouldn't retreat for a second, willing to dismantle the world stone by stone until the last tower collapsed. The musculus was a breakthrough with purpose, a deathly silence coming your way. No walls were safe when the musculus came on the scene. He was part of a set of contraptions and tactics that turned the Romans into siege masters. Ambulatory towers, ballistae, scorpions, and battering rams were the stars of destruction. But Musculus was the wooden spy, the silent infiltrator who set the stage for the final blow. While the towers needed flat ground to advance, the musculus created that ground. He was the one who paved the route to victory, meter by meter, shield by shield. Without it, the towers would be stuck in the mud, the battering rams would not reach the base of the walls, and the soldiers would be exposed. It was the hidden link in the machinery of conquest. With every inch advanced, the empire extended its shadow. The enemy didn't just fear direct combat, he feared the muffled sound of something creeping under the sky. The most feared fortifications of antiquity were won not only by valiant soldiers, but by minds that refused defeat as an option. The musculus was the Roman answer to the arrogance of the enemy walls. While many armies threw themselves against stones and died in waves, the Romans dug, protected themselves, planned with surgical precision. And all this under the wooden roof of a machine that seemed simple, but contained the soul of a civilization that thought of war as art. The fear of fire, arrows, and heights was neutralized by ingenuity. And when the musculus stopped a few meters from the wall, it was a sign that the enemy was already lost. The combat would come, of course, but the heart of the fortress had already been struck, the psychological. The enemy knew Rome was there and that nothing would stop her. The musculus has not survived the centuries as a monument. No specimen has been preserved. No replica rests in museums. But it lives on every page of Rome's military records, like a wooden ghost that still haunts the imagination of ancient warfare. Was it just a wooden box with wheels, or was it the reflection of an empire that he preferred to calculate before destroying? Its importance lies not only on the battlefield, but in the philosophy behind it. Rome won not only with gladius, but with Engineering, intelligence, and patience, the Musculus represents the most strategic thing about Roman warfare. A steady, protected, silent advance, like the empire itself. And even though time has erased its physical traces, its idea continues to be studied, respected, and remembered. Because as long as there are walls, there will always be someone building a Musculus to get through them. If this story made you see Rome with different eyes, then you are no longer just a spectator. You now carry the gaze of strategists, of those who understand that behind every stone there is a plan, behind each achievement, a mind that dared to think differently. So, before this knowledge gets lost in the fog of time, leave your like, show that you also value the story that no one else tells, and subscribe to the channel right now. Because here, each video is more than content. It is a call for those who do not accept the superficial version of history. Activate the bell, share it with those who deserve to find out, and get ready, because Rome's next secret could change everything you think about the past. See you in the next march.